Can you give us an idea what the scenes are like in the dressing room at the moment, if the team's got down there, and what's David Warner up to?
Pretty regulation so far for a post-test match. All the families and kids are in there. Having a beer or a soft drink, and it's always a great scene. Have you sort of turned your mind to the thoughts of having an Australian Test side without David Warner in it? Yeah, it still doesn't. It doesn't really feel like it's. You think about it, but it doesn't feel real probably until he's not walking out there for the anthem with you. But a little bit. But he's been such an integral part of basically any team Australia puts out for the last decade. So it's a big hole that he's filled, and we're going to miss him. And Steve Smith has put his hand up to open. What are your thoughts on that? Yeah, saw that this morning. No real thoughts at all. If I'm honest. What does that mean? I've not thought about it at all. Maybe chat to him the next week or so.
Pat, just that innings from Dave today, the sort of fourth innings chases can occasionally be tricky, but is that just a reminder of what you are losing when, he can, I suppose, set the agenda for you like that? Yeah, one thing's, the style that he plays, and today run a ball 50-odd on a tricky wicket. But also, Test cricket, you play in all kinds of conditions, and losing someone that's played 100 Test matches is pretty hard to feel because, say that he's played on those kind of wickets all around the world before. He knows what works, what doesn't, and, brings out the reverse sweeps and starts using his feet towards the spinners and gets ahead of the game quickly. So, good reminder of what experienced and high-class cricketer Davey is, and we're going to miss. I thought the way he and Marnus batted today was tremendous.
Pat, exciting, entertaining, and someone who puts smiles on faces is how he described himself or how he wants to be remembered. Does that sum it up for you? I mean, is that how you'll be remembered in and outside that dressing room?
Yeah, I think that's a pretty good way to put it. It's always box office with Davey. There's always something going on. Even if he misses out in the runs, he does something in the field or he does a dance on the sideline. I think we're going to miss that. I think from a team point of view, we spend a lot of our lives on the road in hotel rooms when there's not much going on, but Davey always brings that energy to the group, excitement. Every group needs a couple of people like that, or else it can get pretty mundane kind of every day. So, we're going to miss him.
People talk a lot about his batting, Pat, but you spoke about that energy. But in the field, we saw it during the World Cup as well. The times, the way he chases the ball, even now at 37. How much of that has played the role he plays for you guys, like when you're running in on a hot day with the ball in hand?
Oh, it's huge. T20 cricket and one-day cricket gets himself out and he's diving all around, and then obviously really high-quality test slips fielder against spin as well, which isn't easy. But, something that's always stood out for me is, he's been playing now for a decade or so, for Australia, a bit longer, and he just keeps showing up. He plays maybe 100 days of the year for Australia. Every day he shows up, and it's him. His energetic self when he's batting or he's in the field, he's always up for it, which, it's easy to say, but at 37, after you've been doing it for that long all around the world, I think it's quite impressive.
Pat, the 3-0 result isn't very flattering for Pakistan, but we were impressed by how the team was able to really push you in Melbourne and Sydney as well at stages throughout the series.
Yeah, I thought a great series. Feel really happy that we got on the right side of a couple of tight moments, but it could have gone the other way also. I thought Pakistan were high quality. Test cricket, there's nothing harder than playing away from home. The conditions are always so different, but I thought they played really well. MCG could have almost gone either way, and if it wasn't for kind of that hour of power last night, this one could have gone the other way as well. So great series, really well fought. I thought played in great spirits as well.
And Australia's, as of this morning, back to number one on the Test rankings as well. Is that something you were aware of, and is it sort of the perfect way to cap off a pretty fantastic 8 months for the team?
Someone mentioned it before. Don't know how
quite how all those rankings work, but it's good. Yeah, I'd rather be one. If someone's going to rank us, it's probably a good place to be ranked. Yeah, I think it's a good nod to what the group's been able to achieve over the last couple of years, really. Played some awesome cricket in basically all around the world. So, yeah, it's a pretty special group, and to have, say, World Test Championship, Ashes, and being ranked number one, those kind of acknowledgements makes it, shows that we've done something right.
Pakistan never won a series in Australia, didn't win a test match since '96. So how do you take Pakistan as a test opponent? I mean, is it series for you guys?
I always, pretty hesitant to judge teams across different eras and tours. It's obviously you get different players each tour. So, as I said earlier, I thought they were great. They've got some high quality bowlers and batters. And yeah, again, it's, we had to really fight to win this series, and a couple of guys stood up at key moments to get us over the line. But I thought it was a really tough test series, and Pakistan are a high quality team.
You saying before about not really thought too much about Steve as an opener. Is that an indication that you sort of know kind of what direction you want to go with?
I think the selectors are catching up tonight or tomorrow around the one-day squads and obviously the next test match. So I haven't had too many long conversations with them. But, obviously Man and Smudge and Trav and, even Marsh in more recent tours have been pretty impressive at 3, 4, 5 and 6, and Kez at 7. So, first instance isn't probably to disrupt that, but we'll work it out.
So can I, obviously the relief to find that David Warner's cap, do you have any best guesses to where?
It's probably not my story to tell, so maybe ask Davey.
Pat, obviously player of the series, finished with 19 wickets, and we saw some big calls this week. I think Michael Vaughan said could be the best Australian player since Bradman. But in terms of your bowling, do you feel like you're bowling as well as you kind of ever have in your career at this point?
Yeah, I feel like I've been bowling probably as well as I have for a couple of years in Test cricket. Just rhythm felt great, body felt really good. There's other times you bowl well and wickets don't really follow that, but fortunately a few wickets followed me the last couple of weeks, but really happy with how it's all going. Body felt great, felt fresh, felt like I could bowl where I wanted to, kind of go through the gears. So couldn't be happier.
Is that a really important thing, considering how big a year you guys have had, that you've come into this test series and still feeling so fresh?
It is, yeah. Even by the end of the World Cup, bowlers are always carrying a few niggles. I felt a little bit sore and beat up, but after a few weeks rest, I was a bit surprised with how I turned up in Perth and felt really good. So after how much cricket we've played, to not really have any injuries and be able to put our first 11s, credit to the guys, but also the medical staff and the coaching selection, how they've managed us over the last year or two. So, couldn't be happy with how it's all panned out.
Pat, you mentioned, just going back to the C. Smith opening debate or discussion, were you surprised that he would want to move from number 4? And do you think it could potentially reinvigorate his batting or his career sort of late into his career at this point?
It's funny, sometimes when Marnes walked out there and scored runs, Smithy jokes that he's going to race him out to bat at 3 the next game. So I was not overly surprised. I forgot the other part of the question, sorry. What was it?
At this point in his career, like he's settling towards the back end of it, like could it be something that sort of reinvigorates him, a new challenge to go up to the top of the order? Yeah,
I don't know. Maybe chat with him throughout the week, but I'm pretty happy with his output at number 4. If he's desperate to try up the order, well, maybe we're open to it. So we'll work through that. But I feel like there's enough challenges in Test cricket wherever you bat. But I think even the World Cup was a really good lesson in no one owns a spot in a batting order. Just like some days we might mix up who opens the bowling. So it's good to hear people are open to trying new things. So we'll work through that.
just back to the tempo that Davey brought to the side, the way you want to play Test cricket and structure the side, would you like someone in that position capable of maybe not going at 70 all the time, but getting close to what Davey's brought in terms of strike rate? Do you think that's going to be an important part of the decision?
Yeah, it's obviously going to be really hard to replicate Davey and what he's brought to it. So, yeah, I think you kind of look for who's best placed to score runs, really. But I think in Test cricket there are some things that remain true, and that is you've got to be putting the pressure on the opposition. You've got to be ticking over the scoreboard. Not always, but most of the time you've got to keep the scoreboard moving along. So they're considerations. But realistically, if anyone's scoring runs in Shield cricket, it's probably a good sign they can do that in the next level too.
We're going to finish up in a minute. We'll go Mal, Dan, and Jasper.
So, Pat, do you have any feeling about sort of a philosophical stance on whether you should pick your best 6 batters regardless, or the opener should be a traditional sort of opening batsman through Sheffield Shield ranks, whatever the case may be?
Yeah, no strong thoughts. You pick your best batting lineup, who you think's going to score the most runs. Pretty simply. I don't think an opener means that you have to open I don't think you have to pick an opener who opens the batting in Shield cricket. If there's been plenty of games where Marnus or Smithy say have walked out pretty early on in the game. They show that they can play a swinging ball. They can be, an opening batter. So the same goes for other guys who bat in the middle order, I think. So I don't think there's a hard and fast rule.
Do you think Uzi's shown what a middle order batsman can do given the opportunity?
Yeah, absolutely. I think he was batting at 4 for his Shield side when he came up, and he's been just about the best opening batter in the world over the last couple of years. So, I think he's a great example.
Just one look into, obviously, Davies flagged he'll be playing a fair bit of white ball cricket first, but he's still got this sort of leadership ban over him. Would you like to see him sort of stay involved in cricket and be a mentor in the future, or a coach? Because he's obviously someone who's thought deeply about the game over a long period of time.
Yeah, of course. He loves the game. He's got so much to offer. So I'm sure he'll be involved in cricket for a long time. And hopefully it's, in some of those leadership roles, because he's got a lot to give. Don't know what that looks like. I'm sure in the next few years he'll be involved in a lot of actually games where he's playing. But he's played a lot of cricket all around the world in all formats. So he's got a lot of IP there that would be silly not to try and tap into.
You mentioned the spirit when you think Pat, with a couple of gestures out there today, and seems to be genuine affinity between the two sides. Is that a sort of legacy of that tour a few years ago? Do you think that flowed into this now?
Yeah, I think so. Pakistan are always a team that we've just always, it's always been played in awesome spirit. Out in the middle, I think both teams play quite similarly. You play hard, but everyone's ready to joke with each other and have a bit of a laugh and not take it too seriously if the moment doesn't require it to be. So, I thought looking back at that series a couple of years ago in Pakistan, that was great. There was a lot of love shown between the two sides, and it feels like it's carried on a bit this series.
Pat, have you got a favourite David Warner memory? On or off the pitch?
Favourite memory? There's a lot off the field. Even to today, basically every game we've played for the last couple of years, he pulls out his T20 medal that we won over in Dubai and just puts it in his little locker wherever we're playing in the world. And then he added the ODI World Cup medal into that the last couple of months. Just little moments like that just make me laugh every time. A few of the innings he's played over the years, even this World Cup, some of those shots where he just hit the opening bowler kind of over fine leg from the top of off stump, like those kind of memories will stick with me.